Hey, ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome to tonight's meeting on the webinar in Zoom. In fact, it's in our invest room. That's what we have here. Investroom.ai, sponsored by Investroom.ai. Cool. Okay. My name is Francis. Francis Teo is my name. Yeah. So today I'm your host. I would love to be your favorite host. Huh? And well, today, the laugh, come on. Okay. Well, today our topic is on the rise of the private markets. What is that all about? And the very big question is, why are unicorns, billion-dollar startups, choosing to stay private longer? Longer? What are we talking about? We are talking about SpaceX. We are talking about uh, Elon Musk, and as well as our OpenAI, our favorite. In fact, it's my favorite. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, today I would love to actually introduce everybody to our favorite speaker. Yep. And his name is none other than Dr. Ahmad Moraidi. Basically, he's a seasoned entrepreneur in the field of information, communication, and technology, ICT, over 44 years. Wow, come on. I'm not even 44 years old, man. I'm still
Oh my
young,
goodness.
18 years old. Yeah. Uh,
I've
okay.
been working on the sideline.
Well, Dr. Muraidi actually participated in 22 IPO in USA, starting from RX Medical Incorporated since 1990s, and over 36 inductions in Who's Who in the world, and recipient of 2 US presidential gold medals. President George W. Bush, wow, man, and awarded Ronald Reagan Gold Medal 2007, and received Lifetime Achievement Award from Marquis, Who's Who, and recognized for leadership in both public and private companies globally. Expert in AI, technology innovation, and business strategy integration. Wow, that is Dr. Maraidi, man. So now, what have we here, Dr. Maraidi? Say hi to everyone. Come on.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Francis. It's an honor and a pleasure working and collaborating with you. Go ahead.
I think you have to be louder, bro. I'm getting a bit deaf. Yeah. So make sure that our audience can hear what you're trying to say. Yes, that's very important because we are here to hear all your juicy content.
Mhm. Well,
Okay.
the
So
idea for us is you obviously, as a moderator, asking us the questions, and I'll be more than happy. Cumulative years of knowledge that you mentioned, I feel like I'm really old, but uh, providing some insight and information about where we are, where we are going. So that should help out with a lot of our investors and stakeholders that we are invited into these projects and processes that we are taking together is going to create a win-win situation where reward can be reaped in a structural format. Back to you.
okay, Dr. Maraidi, the first questions that I have to ask you is, I think that's a very important questions that we have to ask is why are the unicorns, the billion-dollar startups, choosing to stay private longer, and it is actually becoming a trend. Why is that so? What are the key factors?
Well, there are so many variables in here. One of them is that private capital is exceedingly expanding through large sets of institutions, from family offices to LPs to fund managers to banks to organizations that they want to manage and mitigate risk. For the private companies, it provides liquidity and availability through the secondary market that is called private equity secondary before they apply for IPO. And then there are other variables like flexibility and the control, where you are managing the risk more efficiently, managed by the management of the companies, as well as institutions or the platforms that they provide that services, along with the regulatory burden that you have with a lot of publicly traded companies versus private. Francis, you're muted.
Well, there are a lot of top investors actually betting big in companies, and before they even hit the Nasdaq. So some of the big companies that is actually in the private markets, right, is actually like SpaceX as well as Canva and OpenAI. Okay, so why are they actually choose to be in the private market?
Well, there are several reasons. Normally, IPO, based on the data from the statistical point of view, it's taken an average of 14 years for companies from, call it the seed stage to the maturity of an IPO. But then there are a lot of issues, like, for example, for the employees, for the key management, for the staff, that they have to wait for such a long period of a time, and they cannot have that kind of a liquidity. And then more importantly, when their companies are staying private, is they are focusing on building their businesses through different series of capitalization from series A, B, C, D, and so forth. And then by the time they reach to that maturity, now they can be financially sustainable, capable of doing what they're doing. But then there is this timeline, right, that you need to manage the business, the operations. So organizations like NASDAQ looked at that as a market opportunity. And then they started pursuing that market from what I call back in Jobs Act days, 2013, Obama's act in the United States, that they felt it is important that private equities should have a platform that they could provide their own secondaries that they have throughout the years that they have raised money and created investors for the investor in different layers of risk, provide them with the liquidity without going public. And that was one of the main reasons.